All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome finally to the China group stages. It is MLPDota joined by johnxfire. John, before I explain to the crowd why we took so long, how the hell do you feel?
I'm feeling great, Mike. There's a storm in my back again, so my house is shaking around a bit, but it should be able to hold up, and I hope it does because there's some good Dota 2 to watch, Mike.
Certainly is, John. So for the viewers, the reason why we're 25 minutes late, we just experienced like 20 different lobby issues. I believe there was an update as well just before the group stages started, so everyone had to leave and update, and you know how it is. It's just anyway, it's fixed now. That's the point. My apologies for the delays out of my control. However, we are into the game, and well, it should be a fun one. Team Root versus Newbee Young. I mean, all these group stage matches, John, they are best of twos, but every single matchup you have does matter. And I mean, the more you win, the further you progress into the playoffs.
Definitely so, Mike. You do want to get yourself into the playoffs pretty well. Team Root, they just came off a pretty good victory up against eHome in the H Cup. They are the H Cup champs, Mike. So Team Root must be feeling quite good with themselves. They have some pretty big names in there as well. So you have Super, you have DDC, you have Yao in your lineup. So you're fairly well off, I believe. Newbie Young is of course like an academy team, a bit lesser known, a bit more young. So they have a lot more to really prove here, and it should be interesting to see. They did go through the open qualifiers, Mike. So they have proven themselves in that way that they can go through all these other teams, of course, in the open qualifiers. Now we'll see just how well they hold up against the biggest teams in China, of course. I believe Newbie Young also participated in the H Cup. They just didn't make it into the playoffs. So maybe we see some improvement here, some changes to their draft, changes to their playstyle. They must have picked up from that H Cup. I feel that is pretty important.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. I mean, they've probably been watching Team Root very carefully as well, understanding it's their first matchup, and well, the draft has started, so we'll see what happens. They do have a Brewmaster up on the side of Newbie Young. Team Root, they will go for the Phoenix themselves. Pretty standard stuff so far, John. Nothing too surprising coming out yet for either side. Though,
Definitely so. Team Root does always go back to that Phoenix, and I feel like a couple of their supports are still wide open. Newbie Young does ban out that Dazzle, which Team Root has been drafting for themselves. Feel like if they wanted to, this would be an okay time to lock in the Shadow Shaman, or I believe the Shadow Shaman is pretty much what they like. They go with a Centaur this time though, so Phoenix Centaur opening for Team Root. It's rather interesting, I have to say. You don't have a real hard lockdown. You do have some pretty good damage output and sustain for the Centaur with that Phoenix. And I'm not sure how you lane this though. Are you gonna run the Centaur Warrunner and the Phoenix in a dual lane? Are you gonna be running the Phoenix up top with a safe laner, or are you running a support Centaur, which you see sliding every now and again? Since the patch change, I do believe it has been mainly that core offlane Centaur again, Mike.
well, we'll have to see, John. It's unknown right now, right? Like the Phoenix and the Centaur can be both runners as offlaners or position fours or fives for that matter. We'll have to wait and see what Team Root are up to. Certainly, though, the draft is a bit mysterious on their end of things. Newbie Young, second pick for them now. They have started diving heavily into that reserve time for this second pickup. Though again, it is slightly hard knowing what they're going to be running these heroes as.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of flexibility for Team Root. And
Oh.
Newbie Young goes with a Lion. All right.
Mm.
Support Lion comes out again. Hopefully a support Lion. The first and only time we saw that Lion was as a core, Mike,
Yeah.
I believe, in DPL. So that
Yeah.
was an off-lane Lion. It did not work out well. Hopefully this time maybe Newbie Young, runs it as a standard support Lion, because core Lion sounds fun, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. It's just, well, it has a lot of issues, Mike.
Oh, it certainly does, John. It never really got online the time we saw it, so we'll see what Newbie Young do plan to do with it. I mean, it's probably not the best support in the world, but it's certainly like good enough. It has the Hex, it has the stun, has some very nice burst potential. And of course, it does transition well into the late game, assuming you are getting those finger kills. So I guess it is, it's just a matter of how they play it, what kind of strategy they run it with to make it successful. But I don't know, Lion has not been popular for a very long time. I know it saddens you quite a lot that it hasn't. Perhaps Newbee Young have the secret to make it popular.
I would like to see if they can make this support line really work out well. I mean, a lot of people seem to really think highly of its change to Finger. I think it's a nice thing to have. Again, it doesn't quite fix the issues you have in laning. It's just that it's kind of awkward for you to trade harass. And mainly because of your move speed and your turn rate, it's really hard. You go in for a right click, you run away. Your turn rate's so slow, you're going to cop a couple of right clicks from any ranged core or support.
Yeah.
So it's just very hard to trade hits in that laning phase, which is very important now. And you're trying to secure those safe laner farm. Of course, these supports have to be really proper with their positioning. They really have to trade smartly with the opposing laners, and it's just very hard for a Lion to really maximize his early game damage output.
That certainly is. Team Root right now, a lot of reserve time for this 5th ban up. They actually get rid of the Tide Hunter, which is very interesting. Here you don't see that often, but I suppose up against the PA, it would have been pretty decent in the off lane, and Team Root, they will get rid of it. They'll pick up a PA for themselves.
This is a hero that Team Root seems to go back to every now and again as well, looking at their drafts from H-Cup. So it's a pretty good comfort pick, and it's a pick that always gets me excited, Mike. I do enjoy watching the Phantom Assassin do a lot of work, and we have seen the PA pop back up with 7.20. I feel like it's a very effective hero at what it does. It depends on really how you build it, right? We've seen a lot of teams insist on building that Battle Fury early on, sometimes even when the farm isn't there and the team needs you to be there. And so you do have to have some flexibility with how you build. Like, if you take off in that laning phase, you can go for that Battle Fury to accelerate your farm. But if things aren't going so well, I think you're really going to have to try to secure some mid-game items, maybe a Desolator if you can farm that up. Even that's not that cheap. I'm thinking you might, have to consider some smaller items if you play far behind, because PA does not naturally farm well. So if you just kind of lose out in that laning phase, you're really going to be behind for a while, unless you find a couple of good hero kills.
Yep, that is true. Both teams, John. A lot of reserve time being used. This is one of the longest drafts we've seen in a while, I feel. Like, up until this point, but Newbee Young, gotta have a way to deal with this PA. I mean, arguably the Lion does deal with her pretty well because he does have that burst magic damage, but that does seem to wear off quite fast, and they will actually go for the Shadow Demon now. I don't see what the synergy is here, but you could almost imagine there's a Luna coming in the 4th pick.
Yeah, it's definitely very possible for Newbee Young to just pick that Luna up. I feel like it's a really good pick against something like the PA as well. I mean, you're already picking that PA into a Lion, which can burst you down quite fast, and the lockdown's pretty darn good against something like the PA as well. The Shadow Demon with that Luna should be able to really push down towers, something PA can't do quite well. And PA is susceptible to being bursted down by Luna as well. If PA is isolated, going in for a gank, that Eclipse will just melt PA. She does not have the best strength gain. She does not have the highest HP pool. And you can certainly abuse that with a lot of magic damage for Newbee Young, which they do have.
Oh. Well, rather than the Luna, they'll go for the Juggernaut pick. I mean, I guess that's another one. You can abuse those illusions, John. It goes back to the same problem PA has, though, where the farm is pretty slow, assuming you don't have a good laning stage.
I'd argue Juggernaut recovers faster, Mike. PA just does not have any tools to really clear out camps too fast, whereas a Juggernaut can still at least, he has his Blade Fury, he can just spin around, clear out a camp quite well. Whereas PA really just right-clicks. She has nothing to really clear those camps fast. She has a blink, I suppose. If you have vision across the camps, you can kind of go around that jungle a bit faster, but I feel like overall, if Juggernaut falls behind a bit, he can play catch-up in the jungle much better than Phantom Assassin would.
Fair point. Newbee Young, we'll see how this Juggernaut does go for them, though. Still, on Team Root side, you don't really know how they're laning everything. Like, they've gone and picked a Bane 4th pick. It still leaves a lot to the imagination for the side of the Radiant, but you could almost assume now this is probably a core Centaur. And they're just going to run the position for Phoenix and pos 5 Bane, assumedly. Newbee Young, though.
I think that's probably for the best, yeah.
Yeah. Newbee Young, final ban out now. They are going to use the rest of the reserve time they have left for this. It will be the Pugner that they get rid of. And now what do you finish off with? Like, they need a mid-hero right now on the side of Newbee Young. In fact, both sides pretty much need the same. Just a matter of what they go for.
A lot of choices available for Newbee Young. I feel like if they wanted to go for something like a Dragonite, that would be decent. I feel like you want something that can kind of right-click just a bit. So just in case your Juggernaut cannot clear out that Phoenix Egg by himself, you can have your mid help out. There you go. So Lina, it does come out for Newbee Young. Good amount of control. Really good burst damage along with that line, Mike. Just Laguna and Finger in the same team is going to be a bit scary for the PA without that BKB. Lina, of course, does get a nice amount of attack speed going her way with her passive. So that Phoenix Egg should also kind of struggle to really last in the team fights unless our Phoenix can land those Fire Spirits on both the Jug and the Lina.
Well, Team Root, one more pickup for them. 40 seconds reserve time left. Who is it going to be that goes up against this Lina?
I feel like we might see something just really solid for Team Root here. It could be a Dragonite for Super. Nah, go to Medusa, which is fair enough. I don't know about that one, though. It feels a bit greedy, especially since, well, I guess the PA is kind of your early game core, so the Medusa can focus on that late game. And it kind of combos well with Phoenix. I mean, just turn on that Stone Gaze when they're trying to look at the egg. They have to choose whether to risk getting stoned up or just cop the egg. So it's pretty good synergy coming out from Team Root. I just feel like you can do a lot more with Newbee Young's draft right now. Like there's a lot more going on, a lot more lane control going on. Good early nuke damage coming out, which could eat through the Medusa as well. So I feel like if you are Team Root, you have to play around securing a good start for, at very least, never end. Have that PA come online fast, and then have Super just play the farming game until he's ready to come out.
We'll see how it goes. I certainly do agree that Team Root, they've really got to try and drag this out a bit, and hope to hell Never End has a good start on that PA. The Super. Of course, they don't really have any ways of dealing with the Medusa later on. It feels like you've got the Lion who can drain the mana, but I don't know how effective that's going to be. Like, since when do you see a Lion actually standing there draining mana for a full team fight? It just seems to never happen.
It's definitely not something that's easy to pull off, although, yeah, it's. I guess that's one thing as well, right? The Lion can kind of slow Super down, take out that Man Shield quite well. It's not really what you pick the Lion for, though, up against Medusa. It's certainly not for mana draining a shield every single time. It's not the easiest thing. And again, as Lion, you do want to try to stay alive long enough to really control the tempo with your Impale, with your Hex. So it's nice to have that, I suppose. Early levels should probably hurt Super a fair bit. But again, we'll see. I feel like overall, Newbee Young's draft is just much less reliant on having amazing farm on one hero, right? You can kind of just depend on Jug getting at least a couple of mid-game items after 2 Wraith Bands. I feel like you're pretty comfy after that. Whereas for Team Root, of course, you want Super on this Medusa to have quite a fair bit more, and you also require Never End to have a good start. Because again, it does not flash farm well, Phantom Assassin. So you have to make sure in that laning phase, Never End is at least on par with the off lane.
Well, it looks like there could be an engagement top lane at the moment. Root are setting up for that top banner rune. We do see Zhao on that line. Just keeping eyes on them. He is pinging them out. And
30 seconds
on the side of Newbee Young, they probably will not attempt to go for anything here. course, if they did, DDC is just going to put them in a nightmare, and you're going to have a guaranteed hoof stomp coming out of Yao. So there is a swipe potential here at bot lane for never end on that PA, but no, they are actually going to try and get this. Zhao moving in, Yuan is there as well. And Team Root are the ones that will back off. They do not feel safe engaging.
Yeah, that felt a bit funky, but I suppose clumping up in a tight area like a ramp will really open yourself up to a very big earth spike coming up from Xiao Xiao, so a bit of a really safe play from TR. I feel like maybe if they positioned themselves just a bit differently, instead of just clumping up on that ramp, they could have gone for that contest. Still, a good start for Newbee. I believe that was 3 bounty runes going their way, so again, nice little gold boost early in the game for Newbee.
Yep, certainly so. DDC already being very annoying towards KD, but he does have Li Yuan coming in on that Shadow Demon to help out in this lane. Of course, Never End really going to be focusing on that farm early, and we'll have to keep an eye out on his itemization as well, because we do tend to see these PAs still going for the Battle Fury builds, and it's kind of, we're at that stage in 7.2 where we still don't know whether that's the optimal build to go on these agility carries anymore, but it does seem to be what they're prioritizing right now.
Definitely so. Again, they do seem to really appreciate that farm acceleration and just kind of building off from there, even though the emphasis is a bit earlier in the game, but the timings of that Battle Fury has been pretty on point so far. Again, that's usually in a very even, or at least one lane for the PA.
Oh, there we won. May have been caught out, Never End making the chase. This should be the first blood going the PA's way. He does have the Stifling Dagger available, although Fairy Fire comes out. At the very least, I suppose that does force DDC to take the last hit instead, but it's still a first blood nonetheless.
Yeah, it's still first blood. It's still a good amount of XP going to the way of PA, and I feel like, you know, Never End now is set to have a pretty decent start as long as you're not copying too much from the Shadow Demon, who is, you know, still half a level away from level 2, so his effectivity is not as great. He does come back in with full mana though, so you will have to watch out for those, for the harass coming out with his Shadow Poison.
Just trying to keep an eye on this line at the moment, John. Like, he is playing the support line at the very least, but it's just a matter of how effective he can be. And as it stands right now, I don't feel like we've seen much from him. He did manage to zone out the Phoenix for a bit. That's really all we've seen so far from Zhao. Keep a close eye on that one. And mid lane as well. Super versus AQ. I mean, we always talk about these Medusa lanes, John, but it does feel like at first it'll favor the leaner, and then as you've got the max level Mystic Snake, it's just so much damage you have to put up with. It just goes Medusa's way generally later on.
Definitely so, and it does drain away your mana as well, if I recall right, that Mystic Snake, so you're going to have as an int core down mid, yeah, it really hurts you. You can't pump out the harass, you can't clear out the wave as well, and it is reflecting somewhat in the last hits board, although not by much so far. It's still fairly even, but I feel like as Super approaches his, you know, as Super gets more levels in that Snake, as you mentioned, he should be able to pretty much win this lane over the Lina.
Oh, yeah. Top lane gets hexed up from Zhao, and he will end up falling. A nice kill coming out from Fonty. The Earth Spike into the Hex coming out, John. He was trying to make the TP out. Probably wasn't expecting Zhao to have a level 2 Hex, but he did have one.
Yeah, it does limit how much harass you can pump out, getting that level 2 Hex, as your spells are pretty mana costly, but it certainly guarantees you kills.
Well, it seems like it's already probably paid off just a bit. Look at bot lane and Never End and KD, just trying to trade right clicks with each other. DDC will put him in the nightmare, although he does get disrupted up, but Never End should be there to help out, and he is. They don't even bother trying to make the chase.
Yeah, again, this bot lane is going fairly even, which is, it's not the best outcome for TR. At the same time, it's definitely not that bad. Your PA is keeping up with the Brewmaster, which, in all honesty, is really alright. So, it looks like Never End is set to have a pretty decent start. Again, we're going to have to watch his itemization if this is decent enough for him to move into that Battle Fury, or if he opts to go for something much more focused on early game ganks and rotations.
Well, KD trying to be very annoying towards DDC right now on that Bane. Of course, it's one of those things with the Brewmasters, like you use the Drunken Brawler and suddenly you're just a powerhouse. Just really to be reckoned with. Top lane. Hex comes out again onto the Phoenix this time around. That will allow Zhao to take the banner in. And now the Earth Spike. Fonty is coming in. Is there an Icarus Dive available? No, there actually isn't. He used it earlier on, and Zhao, he will salve up to be able to survive the final right click. And with that, that's a secondary kill going to the Juggernaut now.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold going the way of Newbee over in this top lane. You're really getting a lot of value from your line as well. He has not had to go home yet. I'm really surprised by how far Xiao Xiao is taking this. Like, his HP is way low. He doesn't have regen left. He's been hanging around even after, and I'm kind of surprised from Team Root that they have not been able to manipulate that. I mean, at some point, you should be able to kill off that line, but it seems like they're really just focused on trying to slow down Fonte.
Yeah. And Fonte doesn't seem to be too bothered by this whatsoever. He's still got plenty of regen himself. Not to mention, he does have a level in that healing ward available, just in case he needs it. Looks like there will be another jump onto the Phoenix, but it was just an Earth Spike coming out. Still, though, I agree with your point, though. It is surprising that they haven't actually punished the support, and they continue to go for Fonte, who seems to not care whatsoever. He is currently third in last hits and practically free farming right now. So he seems pretty alright with them aiming him instead of the line.
Pretty much so. It's something you should definitely be happy about as Newbee. As Team Root, I feel like, again, your Centaur is actually not achieving too much here. I feel like you really have to think about your positioning and what you prioritize in these lane exchanges. Although, to be fair, while that's happening up top, again, down bot, Never End is pretty much, pretty much tied up with that Brewmaster for first place in last hits, which is pretty good.
They'll get another one top lane. Fonte is there again. Zhao, he was there with the Earth Spike. He got the Hex off, and Fonte, he just provides the Omni Slash damage and the spin at the end, so the Hoof Stomp didn't even affect him. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, Lei Yuan ends up falling. Now they may find the Phoenix in return on the side of Newbee, but it looks like that won't even happen. And KD, he does just back off to safety. And so it will be a 2-3 now. Team Root finding themselves a bit of value on their own side of the map.
Definitely so, and just looking at Never End right now, he is going to go for that Battle Fury, Mike, so I guess this is a pretty good start as a PA. You definitely could justify going for that Battle Fury. He already has the Power Treads and 2 Wraith Bands as well, and so you're pretty much set for your early game stat items. And again, going to be the Battle Fury, so I feel like you will have to really protect this PA to make sure that Battle Fury comes online at a very good time. I mean, right now, Super's doing well as well. The only lane you really have to kind of give up, for the most part, is this top lane, which they have. They're no longer keeping the Phoenix up there. They've just left Yao alone, so making a lot more work in the map.
Yeah, there you are, though. About to fall, it seems. Team Root, can they find it? Yes, they can. DDC again picking up the kill for himself. It's a bit of a shame. He's on a killing spree, but this is a support Bane, so it feels like all that gold could have been going to better use on the PA, but well, I guess sometimes you can't really choose who it goes on. Split will come out onto the Phoenix, and he is going to dive the tier 1 tower bot lane, although he's completely missed the mark. The Phoenix actually going to go for the TP and will make it out as well. Now the PA coming in, though, Never End. Just waiting out that split to finish, and it eventually will, though KD is in a safe position. But he got nothing out of that.
Yeah, that is our first split of this game as well. Not managing to secure that Phoenix skill it's a bit of a waste, and it's not a very short cooldown at level 1, Mike, so it's not going to be available for quite a fair bit longer. You won't have that escape capability in that lane phase anymore, so you will have to play just a bit safer on his Brewmaster.
Well, they've actually put Lei Yuan on the in the mid lane now. Like, nobody can really contest Super anymore. At this point, like, if you had a look earlier on, the laner had no HP, basically. Now the rest of his supports as well, coming in to help him out just in case there's a gank attempt on him. But they were scanned out by the side of Newbee, so See Liu Yuan, he does back off to safety. Though top lane as well, Fonty, he continues to push in, and he's already taken the tier 1 tower. He's pretty much knocking on those tier 2s now.
Yeah, it's again down to Team Root's prioritization. They seem to really have just given away this top tower, this top lane exactly. Kind of just accepted the fact that their dual lane was not doing the work, and DDC might just okay, he's fine. Could have almost just died there if Fonte got that jump off, I think, but does get away. So yeah, this top lane is definitely surrendered by Team Root, but it does come with the benefit of Super having pretty much free farm, and Never End also kind of being up there in the net worth. So you are doing quite well as Newbee Young when your Jug takes the tier 1 that fast. I'm still slightly worried because your cores are not as well farmed as Super and Never End right now. These are really big heroes to have a good start with. Your Juggernaut is much more ahead, but your mid lane is just slightly behind. The Brewmaster already used his ultimate, so you're not gonna have that option, and he is pretty much behind as well, just a bit. But again, these good starts mean a lot for Team Root. It enables them to go for these greedier items, like again that Battlefield and PA. It's gonna be very big, gonna speed up that farm. Super again, just basically free farm down mid, just going around the jungle now, finding all the farm he can get, and once that Mask of Madness is up, it's just going to get even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the farm will just accelerate for Super.
It does seem like the side of Newbee Young, they really are putting all their eggs in one basket for Fonty right now on that Jug. We'll see what they can make happen with him. Like, he's getting very close to a Diffusal Blade now. So his farm is certainly there, but like you said, like once that PA Medusa's online, it's just a matter of how much is he going to need to actually try and take those two down. I suppose in 5 to 10 minutes we may find out, because we haven't really had a big engagement yet in this game. Both teams just seemingly happy with soaking that XP and gaining some farm, and I suppose when you have a Medusa on the board, that's probably what you'd come to expect.
Yeah, definitely. So it just, the game kind of slows down when you draft a Medusa. There is a smoke coming out from Newbee Young. I'm not sure if they'll find anyone, really.
Well, they're waiting for that mid lane. Now they are going to run on top of the hill, but the Medusa already gone. Now Super will show in the mid lane. They are going to loop around though, and they will find DDC on that Bane. Super actually committed the Stone Gaze. Not sure about that one.
Strange decision from Super. I don't think they were going to go for it after they popped Omni Slash on a Bane. Nonetheless, I guess that's kind of okay, I guess. Jug will go for another rotation. But at Omni Slash, you'll probably have your Stone Gaze up as well, so not the biggest loss of cooldown, still somewhat of a waste, and a nice clean pick-off for Newbee Young, although it's not in here they really care for. Like, you don't really care for killing off DDC Spain, and I don't think DDC minds at all that he was the one copying that for his Omni Slash.
No, certainly not. I guess with the Stone Gaze used by Super, it does give you an opening if you're on the side of Newbee Young to go for a gank. Now that you know that he won't have that escape mechanism, but it looks like they're just going to leave him alone, and that cooldown's going to be back up in about 30 seconds. Though top lane, it does look like Team Root want to go for another target, and that will be Fonty. And Stampede will come through though. Earth Spike will get 2 of them. Now the dagger, but there are a lot of people rotating KD in the middle of all this. He does get stunned up. Where's the split? It does come out eventually, and Yao is in trouble. The finger comes out as well. Yao is going down. Now they found another in Never End, and he's still trying to go for Zhao, but the Laguna Blade comes out. He will find the trade, but is it going to matter? Probably not, considering he's lost his own life as well as the Centaur.
Definitely not worthwhile for Team Root, and I'm pretty sure Newbee Young is very happy with that trade. Again, you just lose your support line, who even manages to get, a stack of Finger Death killed, so that's 50 extra damage to that Finger Mike. And, they get the kill on the PA, which is really pivotal, and the Centaur dies again. So, Newbee Young is fairly happy with that, I have to say. And again, they're just going to be really, really set for the next team fight, as their cooldown should be coming off. I mean, you won't have Finger. You're going to have Laguna again. You're going to have Omni Slash at the very least. Split won't be there, but again, you can just do a 2-man rotation with a smoke with Fonte and probably the Lion, Xiao Xiao. and just find a kill again and just snowball that way. That is one very easy way for Newbee to take over Team Root's net worth right now. Although Team Root is still keeping up. Don't get me wrong. They're farming quite well, and the two cores that need to be up on the top are still up in the top. It's just, can they hit a good timing to come online, or is Fonte's Juggernaut just going to take over?
Well, there will be a smoke attempt coming out from Newbee now. Looks like they really want to try and get Super, but they will end up running into somebody else. Super, he is in the top jungle just farming up freely, and they don't really seem to have any vision around there to spot him out. But they are running towards the mid lane now. Newbee, who are they going to find? Closest target is Never End, and they will get the Purge. From NB.Y, though, DDC is there. Spin will come out. They ignore Never End, and they will go after DDC, who salves up and walks away.
Ooh, that Stampede really bought enough time for Never End to get away. I mean, that's just really bad timing coming out from Newbee as well. The waves were just coming in. Never End manages to get that Phantom Strike out, and they couldn't even kill off DDC. So a bit of a wasted smoke rotation coming out from Newbee. They miss out on a little farm they could have gotten instead, and that does help. I believe that does help Team Root overall. They did manage to have some time where they were farming a bit more, and Newbee was not. So I feel like they should be happy. Again, Team Root is pretty much happy as long as they can find this early game farm, and they certainly have, Mike. I don't feel like they're shut down at all. Net worth lead for Newbee is just about 1k at 15, so it's very, very even, which favors Team Root just a bit more, I have to say, Mike.
Certainly so. They do spot out the Juggernaut. Can they find him, though? Zhao is right next to him. They do also have a Blink Dagger now up on the Centaur, so the initiation is available. Though Newbee seem to be aware of what's going on. DDC, he will get hexed up, though the Hoof Stomp will come out and Omni Slash immediately onto Yao, and they will be able to find him eventually. So 1-for-1 trade. Fonte just trying to back off. NB.Y will do the same, and it looks like that'll be it. But they did end up getting that Centaur for the price of a line. So again, Newbee coming out on top.
Definitely.
Although, they go for more. Super, Stone Gaze will come out. The split was already used. Fonte just waiting for the right moment. Super almost out of mana here. Laguna comes out. Egg as well. It looks like the spin will come out from Fonte, and he will try to go for the egg. He does manage to grab it, though. AQ now goes down from Never End. He's going after that Juggernaut. Can he find him? Yes, he can. It looks like the Team Root side are now the ones happy. And they will find another in NB.Y. Surely, though, Zhao, he comes into Earth Spike, but he does get Hoof Stomped up. Finger comes out onto DDC, but it will get nothing. And Newbee now get team wiped by the side of Team Root.
It is very, very odd to force the issue there. Sure, you just lost. You just basically got the Centaur for line for free, but Team Root, they have pretty big potent team fight spells, and you were fighting underneath that tier 1. So they could just rotate in quite easily, whereas your line still had some time to walk. You know, he died as well. He had to TP in, walk from that tier 1 bot, and the fight was right by Team Root's tier 1 bot. So a bit of an odd decision that was basically taking what was a 4v4, which turned into a 5v4 because of how far everything was. And, you know, Team Root comes out on top. That is Never End as well, finishing up his Battle Fury. And now he's going to get that BKB, and it's going to be so much harder to deal with him because your main control is this line. And, I mean, to really stun up this PA, it's the line follow-up from the Shadow Demon from the Lina. You're gonna want to land at Earth Spike and the Hexon, but you can't do that when the BKB's out.
Look, I have to agree with you. I mean, it's becoming very problematic for the Dire End that they will go for a smoke gank, and again, DDC gets caught out, but they turned around very, very late, and now they might just miss everybody. Yao is going through the tree line, does not have a TP available though on the Centaur, though Katie has not found him, and they just assume he's TP'd.
Oh, really unfortunate rotations from Newbee again. It's happened twice now, I feel, where their smoke rotations have not paid off. This time they can't. Again, they didn't go all in on DDC. They wanted a bigger target in Yao, but they just couldn't find him. They couldn't get there fast enough. And I feel like even if they forced the issue, Yao might have been able to do something with that Stampede and just run away anyway. So, again, a bit of a waste from Newbee. They are going to probably secure this tier 2 for themselves. whereas Team Root is just going to take that tier 1 up top, so a bit of a better trade for sure for Newbee.
They do get a nice trade, but they are on a timer right now. Like, Super is starting to get pretty big. He does get a tier 1 tower of his own. They are looking to go for tier 3s, it looks like, and I kind of feel like why the hell not, honestly, if you're on the side of Newbee. Again, with this Medusa, you can't drag this game out too long. She's just going to become impossible to kill at some stage. But Newbee, they push it a bit, and they will back up to that top lane. It looks like they're just happy with the trade.
I mean, right now, Newbee does have a lot more map control, Mike. They still have that tier 1 down bot. So, you know, they have a bit better control of their jungle, although they haven't really been playing in their jungle. Newbee has been very aggressive in this game, and they have been trying to get, you know, they have been trying to shut down Team Root by going that jungle, smoking up a lot. It's just that they never find the right target, Mike.
And now, I mean, they may get targeted themselves. DDC moving forward. KD will back off in time. Has a blink dagger of his own anyway, just in case. Looks like Newbee now will just start playing the farming game themselves. So again, you look at Super. Hurricane Pike already up with that Mask of Madness, and he is going for the Eye of Skadi next. And he's getting close to that level 20 mark. He's almost level 17 now. The level 20, he's going to get that plus 700 mana, and that's when things start to get a bit silly. Like, that's when it's almost impossible to kill the Medusa. If you look at to the line, John, he hasn't exactly got the mana drain anyway, so even if they wanted that option of trying to drain some of the mana, it's just not going to work out. But mid lane, never end. Goes for the jump with his BKB charge, doesn't find anything out of it, and that's a 10-second charge gone.
I think he was worried about follow-up. I believe the Shadow Demon got his ultimate off on the PA while Never End was alone. So he pops the BKB just to be safe, runs back. A bit of a waste again, that's the 10-second charge. You want that in a big team fight. But at the very least you don't die. Although I'm not sure again how big the threat of dying was going to be. I suppose if Fonte did opt to go in, that would have been a very easy kill. But, you know, no tools really to close that gap. Can just Phantom Strike out onto the nearest creep wave. So it might have been a bit harder for Newbee to actually find that kill than Never End would have believed.
Looking up to the some of the itemizations Newbee have gone for right now, they do pick up the Aghanim Scepter on the Lina. Fonte as well, about to pick up his own Battle Fury, so I guess expect his farm and damage to start escalating with that itemization, and now he does have it. It's just up to how this Medusa is, like, later on. I want to say she's going to become a massive problem, but at the same time, I feel like we saw a game recently where she had free farm and she still ended up losing quite easily.
I believe there was a game where the Medusa was out. I'm not sure how free farmed it was, but again, it didn't feel as amazing as before. It certainly had some impact in that mid game. Just going into that late game, somehow it didn't keep up. So we'll find out again here, Mike. It was just one game, of course, and this is Super on a Medusa. Not exactly his signature here, right? Like, Super is really known for his DK, but I feel like Medusa kind of fits into what he tends to do anyway. In a weird way, it kind of does, as he does enjoy farming a fair bit as a mid. Although, yeah, well, I guess his DK is a bit more sacrificial, but this time around he is gonna get a bit more farm. And right now Team Root is quite ahead in farm now. That PA has definitely gone far and beyond now, Mike. 2k ahead of Medusa, 3k ahead with Jug. So a really good start for Never End. Hasn't really been, there hasn't been a big team fight in a while now. Both teams just kind of slowing down, trying to farm up. And I feel like this is the point where Phantom Assassin starts to get a bit silly, Mike. Skull Basher is now out. So get ready for some dagger bashes and just absolutely balanced sense of control.
Why the hell not? They do also scan out the side of Newbee in that Roche pit. This could be massive for Team Root to take a team fight and take the Roshan. They will find one already. Zhao is dead. Stampede comes through, but it's not for chasing purposes. It was just for repositioning purposes. And with that, I mean, the side of Newbee, they back off immediately. Although it does look like they are planning to try and counter this Roshan. Fonte, of course, has the Omni Slash available. Roshan now half HP though. NB.Y wants to make the jump. He does go. No lucky bashes coming out quite yet though. Super also moving forward. They will force staff NB.Y back. Healing back up with the Sun Ray. And they'll probably just keep going for this Roshan now.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Lion is back up there, so you do have to watch out for that Impale on the Hex, but he's still pretty far out.
Disruption will come out into DDC. Meanwhile, Super being very annoying with his own illusions. Roshan, meanwhile, is just healing up throughout all this. A very prolonged Roshan fight. NB.Y was trying to sneak in the backlines with his blur, and he does spot out KD. Xiao Xiao is already there as well. But again, bit of hesitation, especially from Newbee. They're just trying to hold that high ground right now. Now they will jump in though. The Nightmare was there from DDC very quickly, and now Yao jumps in. The Hoof Stomp was not there because the disruption did end up saving KD, and he will get the split off. And now DDC, he'll be the target. They do jump on to the Juggernaut, and he gets crit to death. NB.Y finds him. Now they'll find KD as well. It looks like they found another, although that was Yao dying. AQ is trying to make a run for it right now, but he gets critted as well from NB.Y. An ultra kill coming out for this PA. And like you said, John, this is the part where PA starts to get a little bit silly.
That was just most definitely quite dumb. They wanted to start that fight with Brewmaster. He blinks in. The Nightmare from DDC is pretty damn amazing. And then NB.Y just suddenly bashes him as well, so you're forced to disrupt him, which does cancel off that Hoof Stomp, but you know, it's definitely not how you want that team fight to start for Newbee in that Roche Pit.
Certainly not. And with that, they will lose the mid-tier 2 tower now as well to Super. Who, by the way, I believe has enough gold to just buy out the Eye of Skadi if he wants. And, well, he's making his way to the secret shop now. You look to the PA NB.Y, and he's got that Abyssal Blade up now as well. And so now you've got a guaranteed stun that he can land, especially on that Juggernaut.
Yeah, and you know, not just the guaranteed bash, it does have like the damage block as well, which might hurt how much damage the Chug does.
Fonte ends up getting the Phoenix bot lane though. Lei Yuan will get caught out at the top lane. Disruption to delay, but he is almost certainly dead, and he will go down to NB.Y. So I support for a support, nothing too special there.
Definitely so, although again, I don't know, it just feels a bit more favorable for Team Root, again, because they have basically secured themselves as good of a start as they can. Of course, you know, losing your Phoenix is never nice, but that does buy them enough time to really just push out this top lane, Mike.
Yeah, and they're going to go for it, NB.Y. Not backing off, they have the Stone Gaze available. Mind you, there is a Blink Dagger now up on Fonte, but it looks like they're going to go for a trade of their own. There is DDC there to try and slow things down, but he is only a Bane. He'll throw out the Nightmare on the Lina first. Meanwhile, top lane though, they are TPing back to defend this. Now the egg comes out as well as that NB.Y jumps in, and KD and AQ are both gone. Xiao Xiao trying to make a run for it, though they do spot him out with that Sunray, and he does get pinged out as well. Though look at this. Fonte is being chased down by NB.Y right now, and Yao, and they're going for the much bigger target, and they are going to find him as well. The bashes come out from NB.Y. Yao picks up the final blow on that Juggernaut to claim the gold, and with that, they may just go straight through mid. Like, why the hell not?
Yeah, I don't see anything stopping them right now. They just take a very clean team fight. They still have Stone Gaze as well, Mike. They did expand the egg. Stampede is still on cooldown, but they have Stone Gaze up. They shouldn't be too scared. It should be a very safe push.
It's a guaranteed tier 3 coming out for the side of Team Root. We'll see if they do go for the Rax attempt. Though again, it does feel very, very safe, and they will go for it now. Age is still available as well on the PA. They do get a nice impale off onto DDC, and they will take him out. But still, they will not back off for those Raxes. KD though jumps in, he will get the split off. Fonte is about to respawn in just a second, though is anyone going to be left? NB.Y, he will find the backlines. The Shadow Demon gone, and now he goes for more. Xiao Xiao going to be the target. He's dead as well. AQ, his life will be spared. Anyone else want to go up against this PA right now? They're thinking about it. The disruption will be there onto Super, and again the dagger's flying out. Never End jumps straight into AQ, now changes his mind and goes for Lee Yuan. The Omni Slash not really doing much, honestly. Super is quite low, but the full team is getting wiped right now on the side of Newbee. Fonte, he goes down as well. No buyback available on him. Xiao, the only one left trying to make a run for it, and they're going to find a secondary Rax now because of this.
Oh yeah, very good execution from Team Root. I believe that is still their Aegis up. Yeah, they still have the Aegis on the PA as well. They managed to force some buybacks out, and they take that set of racks down mid anyway. And now I don't see anything stopping them from the second set of racks. Sure, they expended the Stone Gaze there, but now they have the egg up, Mike.
There's just too much going on for the side of Team Root right now. I mean, I almost thought they were going to go bot lane, but then I realized there was still a tier 1 and tier 2 tower, and they will go and start claiming those, but I mean, this is just a fantastic advantage for the side of the Radiant. And with the heroes you have on the side of Newbee, like, you're still going up against the PA and a Medusa. How the hell would you come back from this?
It's very hard. I think as it goes on, you want your Juggernaut to be able to get a really strong Omni Slash in. In fact, I dare say, you could even justify an Agnes coming out here, right? Because you just can't man fight right now. You cannot stand up and right click and survive through it. But if you have one extra second in your Omni Slash, that's going to be a very big thing to come out, especially since you have that battle fury in there. So I think Fonte could consider that in his itemization. It's kind of like a Hail Mary sort of move, of course, because Ags on Jug it's very niche and very, very situational. I feel like this is one situation where you might justify it, that those extra slashes are just needed because none of your heroes can stand up and man fight the heroes on Team Root anymore.
Well, they may go for a team fight bot lane. It's like Yao moving forward. KD, he will blink out of there safely. And Fonte, he will TP. Interesting positioning from Newbee. Like, they know that they're going to go for that lane now, and it looks like they were just trying to go as a team and make sure it's pushed out a bit, but there was that slight risk of Team Root coming out of nowhere with a smoke attempt. It does look like Newbee actually may take a team fight outside of their own base. And look at the lines being drawn out. They know exactly where they are on the side of Root. Smokes are there. KD has to be so careful though. Oh, the hoof stomp. Disruption was there in time. They are going to jump in anyway. The egg in the middle of everyone, and now those daggers come flying out. Never End's already got a double kill, and that Omni Slash does absolutely nothing. He gets stunned up. It's a triple for Never End, and they call GG. This PA is way too farm, John.
Yeah, this is again something that Team Root likes to draft up. The Phantom Assassin, I believe they drafted it a couple of times in the H Cup. The Medusa as well, so these were very, very strong comfort picks for TR. And Newbee, they tried to play against it. They just couldn't squeeze enough from the laning. From the laning phase, they just couldn't slow down that PA enough. They didn't rotate to shut down Super's Medusa. And that was just enough. Just, again, that PA drawing even in the lane against the offlaner is enough for you to justify that Battle Fury, which will accelerate your farm, which means all your items come online earlier, and you're just that much harder to deal with, Mike.
Yeah, and on that note, John, I mean, this is a best of 2 series, so Newbee, they do have a chance to tie this up and make it a 1-1. We'll be right back, though. We've got to jump in the lobby. I don't think it's going to take that long this time around to start up the game. So it is MLPDota, it is johnxfire. We'll be back in a few minutes, hopefully, to see how game number 2 goes. Won't be too long, guys.